Hey, what's up guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. In this video, by request, since we've been talking about it here recently, I've had a few, actually quite a few emails from folks asking if I would reanalyze the massive sphere that jumped off the sun many years ago. And did NASA pull a fast one on us? A lot of people still think that that is indeed the case. Something was made up very quickly following that incident. And we'll come back and take a look at the new analysis. And I have found some things. I have analyzed that in detail many years ago. But I've since then acquired some new techniques. I've applied those new techniques. And in the last 24 hours, I've come up with some new findings. How about that? So maybe, just maybe, NASA pulled a fast one on us. We'll see. We'll see. Coming up in this afternoon's live stream, I'm still working on something right now. In fact, that's what you see right here in my ear. I'm listening to a conversation about something that's occurring right now in our solar system. I'm adding my thoughts too into this conversation. I already have. But yeah, that's kind of a big deal, and that will be in this afternoon's live stream. So you definitely don't want to miss that. Real cool stuff going on. Hey, there's the moderator. Hey, everybody, AZ Watch Woman. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you call home. Maybe it's evening time in your part of the world. Wherever it is, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, we're going to analyze the SDO footage of the incredible, it was one of the most shocking pieces of footage to ever surface from this particular spacecraft. And it still has the world mystified to this very day. People are still very curious as to what exactly that was. We were told it was one thing, but it looks like something else. Again, we're going to come back and take a closer look at that. I'd like to say hi to everybody real quick while people are joining in. Thank you, moderator. What's up, Donna? What's up, Chief Engineer? What's going on, guys? Space Coast, Florida here. Where's everybody from right now? Just curious as to where everybody's from. I'm in the house this morning. Moderator, of course. I know where the moderator is at. Hey, Rick, it is Monday, Rick, and guess what? We've talked about this too. Watch how soon Friday gets here. Before you know it, Friday will be here. East Tennessee, what's up, Jason? Good afternoon from Montana. Hello, Dory. Don't forget to hum a super chat in there every now and then if you want to, guys. North Idaho, super chats are always welcome, and they are they are mighty welcome. Arkansas, undisclosed location. Are you Yeti? I'm not Yeti. Are you? Chicago, been there many times. California, South Carolina, Western Pennsylvania. Eastern Oregon from Utah. What's up, Brian? Yorkshire, Oregon. A lot of people in the house. Indiana, been there. Salt Lake, have not been there. Zion Zera. Latanya from West Virginia, Michigan. Got all kinds of people all across the country. And also, don't go anywhere because it's not super bright. I know some of you guys are sensitive to the photosynthesis, the light, flashing lights. I have a new update. We're at now 2,000. Over 2,000, just over 2,000 reports submitted just to me. I'm one person of these mysterious rogue and random flashing lights. Hey, Graham was asking about the galactic plane, and I know you mentioned a few times, Graham, the galactic plane's basically like the ecliptic plane here in our solar system, but on a much larger scale. It's in the whole Milky Way. Everything evolves around the Milky Way, on a plane that's center in the Milky Way galaxy, just like the solar system. The planets revolve around the sun on an invisible plane. Right now, I believe we are just under the ecliptic plane of the Milky Way galaxy. We kind of go like this as we travel through the galaxy. We weave up and down. We go above the galactic plane, below the galactic plane. I studied that many years ago, but it's relevant where we are with regard to the position of especially the center core of the galaxy and where we're at. Are we moving into it? We're always moving in the galactic plane? Are we moving towards the galactic center? Let's hope not, at least not too quickly anyway. That wouldn't be a good day. What's going on, guys? Jonesboro, Tennessee, Beaufort, South Carolina. Rick got the #3 crown. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate all your comments. And we're going to start off. Don't go anywhere because these are not too super overwhelmingly bright. I know some people are sensitive to that. You know what? You want to know the truth? I think I am a little bit. That's why I do try to tone them down. But the reason I'm sharing this right off the bat is because these three right here are what took me over 2,000. I've saved every one that people have sent in. Now over 2,000 submissions since November. Check it out. I'm going to turn the volume down. Phoenix City. I don't know how that's pronounced. Does anybody know? Is it Phoenix City or Phoenix City, Alabama? That's how it's spelled. It doesn't have an O like Phoenix, where we're at here. Jason, anyways, Jason 7/13 of 2025. This is still happening. It's July 2025. Right there it is. I just posted it right at the top of that video. 2,000 plus total submissions. And I've saved every one of them. Yeah, they're in multiple folders over here. I'm transferring them to an external hard drive. But anyway, he was at a stoplight and there was all kinds of activity there, quite possibly a contaminated circuit with the dirty electricity theory that we've been tossing around, going from Phoenix City, Alabama to Evansville, Indiana, down the road a few miles, 7/16 of 2025. Elijah, he stopped what he was doing, driving down the road, stopped in front of this building right here. It looks like a restaurant of some sort. Lights aren't supposed to be doing that. He drives by here all the time. He's never seen them do this until this day. And I believe this one here was video 2000 exactly. And this one here is 2001 by Stuart Hughes. Not sure of the location, but that's okay. 7/17 of 2025. If you guys do submit something through the website or email, and I'll show you guys where you can do that later in case you don't know, please include somewhere your name, date, and location. That helps a lot. But anyway, Stuart Hughes came up on a building. This looks like a very modern new building. You can see the lights flashing up here on top of the building. And then off to the right, a totally separate, possibly different circuit. These look like street lights out here flashing to the right of the building. And that was video 2001. So I had to share those, guys. That's a lot since November of 2024. Prior to November of 2024, 0. Had none. Unbelievable. So to me, from my point of view here, sitting at this desk, seeing what I see, I can only believe that there is something bigger going on there, because I've never received a video prior to November of 2024 regarding these weird flashing lights. Not one. And now over 2,000. That's not a coincidence, right? Okay, guys, here we go. We're going to hop right into this because we're going to analyze this for a few minutes. Thanks for stopping by. I know you've all seen this, but you may not have seen it this close. And I know you haven't seen it through this lens because this is a brand new analysis. I go in really, really close. I've used some slightly different techniques that you'll be able to see in this particular analysis. And this thing, okay, the plasma you see here around the sun, the dark features you see on this thing, they're magnetic. They contain a positive and a negative charge. What we have going on here is a collection of positive and negative charges. Holy cow, who was that? Cam's Razor. Wow, love to see those red banners come through there. Thank you so much. Let me give you a thumbs up there. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Cam's Razor. Thank you so much. What we have here is a lot of, well, supposedly magnetic polarity here. That's what's holding like a lot of people theorized that some people called it a cord, a recharging lanyard of some sort. I don't know. Current carrier, like we have current carriers here on Earth that are contaminated. And I think that's what's causing the flashing lights all over the world. It's not just happening in 1 or 2 states, all over the world. Every state in the United States I've gotten multiple videos from, including Rhode Island, Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii, all of them, North and South Dakota. The last one to submit was South Dakota, and then all around the world. But what we've got going on here, guys, is a kind of a quagmire, if you want to know the truth. The way this is configured, I don't think it can be a natural artifact of the sun. And there's also something in the background. Oh, Cam's razor, thank you so much. I don't think this can be a natural artifact. Look in the back. Can you see behind the primary focal point? Obviously this one here. There's a, hey, Maritza Marrero, thank you for the super chat. See the one back here in the back? Where is my super zoom? Right here. Here it is. Let's zoom it. Let's go back. Okay, there's a small one back here. It was almost as if there were 2, right? A small one back here, and then the primary one here. Okay, keep in mind, solar wind is coming off the sun right now, all the way around the sun. All we're looking at is this one side, but all around the sun, solar wind is emitting off the surface at anywhere from 300 kilometers per second to 5, 6, 7, 800 kilometers per second. This thing is remaining stationary with no problem, and it's remaining. Its shape, its very unique shape, is not being influenced at all. It's deflecting the solar wind and the magnetic polarities, the different magnetic polarities there, with no problem. This shouldn't have lasted this long. This lasted for over 3 days. It's like, what, 3 days? So anyway, to be quite honest with you guys, I found this in 2012. I put up the first video about this, and then after that, and I say that very humbly, this is something that I was very fascinated with and still am. Back in 2009, when this first came out, and I was super intrigued by, wow, we can look at the sun this close, you know, and all this detail. I'm still fascinated by it to this day. That right there was something that had never been seen before. And I was just like, whoa, what do we got going on here? So I just uploaded a video real quick to YouTube and you know, let everybody in the chat decide, you know. And boy, the theories swept the earth, what this could have been. But for it to remain there for 3 days, just sitting there unaffected by the solar wind, seems almost impossible, right? But anyway, after this started making the rounds, the video, like I said, swept the world real quick. People were very interested in this and still are. I'm still getting emails. I had, again, 2 different emails from 2 different people that don't know each other, asking if I would reanalyze this when I had time. And I'm like, you know what? I'll make time. I'll do it, because since I first put it up, good grief, 13 years ago, nothing like this has ever been seen since. I've learned some new techniques. My tool bag has gotten bigger, so I reached out in the tool bag. I understand a little bit more about the sun and the magnetics today than I did back then. We all learn as we get older, and the more time we spend doing anything, we accumulate more knowledge about that particular field of study, whatever it is. I don't care if you play tiddlywinks every day. You're going to get halfway good at it if you play tiddlywinks. I understand a little bit more about the magnetics, and this thing to sit there for 3 days, pretty much uninfluenced by the power of the sun, seems a little bit odd. Right there, we're going to go in close to, and we're going to watch this thing detach. It doesn't just fall apart like you think it would, like it really should. Like a CME that comes off of the sun, it comes off in a wave of a density wave, if you will. And it's very unorganized and discombobulated. Sometimes it'll come off in a unique feature, but very, very rare. Nothing like this here with an attachment cord. And then you could see the plasma snap back. That's the magnetic energy, the magnetic force that we were talking about at the beginning of the live stream. Here it is in a different format. I've modified the lighting and color. I was trying to pull forward the very unique feature of the massive sphere that's many times bigger than Jupiter, okay? Or at least it was when it was there. The corona is what made it visible. Otherwise, it was probably invisible. But you can clearly see its connection. Whatever it is has no problem handling the power of the solar wind. The solar wind coming off the sun can affect comets millions of miles away. That's what creates the comet's tail, is the solar wind. So you're telling me something this close to the sun is just unaffected? Nothing, it just sits there unaffected by the solar wind? Come on, man. I don't know. I find that impossible. Okay, so anyway, here we go. This was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 miles long, maybe. The sphere itself, which we can only see the top half of it. There was a complete sphere here. And when this thing detached, as you're going to see, we're going to put it in slow motion, zoom in, talk more about the magnetics and the magnetic polarity. The magnetic polarity of the connector, you know, it's got to be positive or negative and or both. So was it positive on the end that was connected to the sun, negative on the sphere? Were they double negatives, double positives? There was something going on there that was highly unusual, okay? Like a flux rope. That's the big arches that you see every once in a while on the surface of the sun. They'll jump from active region to active region, creating a huge arch on the structure, a very neat structure. In fact, sometimes there's several of them connected together like an accordion. Those have a negative and positive polarity. That's what, you know, they jump to each other. What's going on here? This was all one polarity? How? Doesn't make sense, guys. Here's a good view of it here. Again, this took the world by storm back in 2012. People were very fascinated by this because it did look like a planet sitting next to the sun. Temporarily. But it was there for 72 hours. I think almost 72 hours, or maybe just above 72 hours. I think it was there the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and it detached on this day here on the 11th, maybe the 11th into the 12th. It was there a while, and it stayed in the same place, again, unaffected by the mighty solar wind. Here's a good view of it here. Look at it. It's just perfect. Again, what's the current carrier there? You know that this is completely full. Look at the density of it. That's why I adjusted the lighting here so you could see the density in the connector that's connected to the sun. It's pulling energy from the sun. It is. It's pulling energy because it's denser. That's why it's dark. There's energy flowing through that to the sphere, whatever that thing is. Your guess is as good as mine, right? But it is too perfectly round to just be sitting there for over 3 days. What? Come on. So, like I said, when this first came out, it had been out for a couple of days. Stormed the world. People were coming up with all kinds of theories because they were curious. It's still curious. NASA came out and said, oh, it's a coronal cavity. Okay, well, that's the official statement. So I guess that just pretty much ends any conspiracies or speculation about this thing, right? A coronal cavity. The corona is the veil of light, the thick cloud around the sun. It's always there. There's always cavities in the corona. They're not this perfect. You know, so everybody kind of, you know, just took the story and you know, that was that. I never really fully did because there's always cavities in the corona. This was almost as if it was under some sort of intelligent control. Most coronal cavities that I've seen for over, oh good grief, 15 years now, didn't behave like this. Watch. It's here, I put it in slow motion. It's going to detach as one cohesive unit. Watch. Why doesn't it just fall apart from the solar wind, get completely just discombobulated by the solar wind? It detaches as if it's under intelligent control. Look at that. Even took its cord with it. Come on. and then the magnetics cause the residue to snap back to the surface of the sun. Why didn't this just get drawn in? There had to have been some sort of magnetic quagmire going on there that would have caused this thing to fall apart, not remain intact for 3 days, 3+ days, in fact. Okay, here we go again. This is a different format. I'm trying to give you guys the very best perspective of this historic event. To the best of my knowledge, has never happened since this very specific day. This was March 11th of 2012. March 11th of 2011 was also a historic day. Something about that March, I don't know, here we go. This is another, this is an enhanced view. You can see the current carrier, that's what I call it. That's what I call power lines here on Earth. They're current carriers. They're carrying a current. These currents get contaminated with EMP energy, and I think that's what's causing the flashing. And it's not just lights. People's headlights on cars and cell phones and TVs are malfunctioning. But that's a whole nother story. That's a current carrier, right? It's carrying that juice to the sphere, whatever that thing was. Too perfectly round. For 3 days. Come on, man. A coronal cavity can't maintain that type of strength up against the solar wind like that. No way. That's just my opinion and my theory, okay? That's just my way of thinking. So here we go. This is a different format. I tried to get as close as I could, but honestly, it was next to impossible. I do have another format that shows the connection up here on the sun, and I'm talking about the current carrier there. Some people called it an umbilical cord, you know, a power source, how it was connected to the sun like that. For 3 days, by the way. But it's a little too, I don't know, there was a lot of lights and darks up there on the surface of the sun to where you couldn't quite get dialed in on a really specific area. Here's where it leaps off, or it just kind of falls off as one cohesive unit. Look. There we go. Now I'm going to follow it here in a minute until it just kind of disappears. I'm going to get even closer. What's up, Graham? Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Unknown spherical object just like Helios, the object. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so there it disappeared. Then you can see the recoil, right? That was the corona and the energy recoiling back to the surface of the sun. How was this thing able to resist that recoil for 3 days without it having, Sir Skill, thank you guys for the super chats. That's all very, very kind. $100 super chat. Wow, that's impressive. You guys are super kind. I appreciate all the super chats and super stickers. They're all a lot of fun. They make this a lot more fun, let's put it that way. But I enjoy sharing these presentations with you guys. I really do. I'm an image analyst. I've analyzed thousands of images and videos over the years. I've done work for the History Channel's Ancient Aliens. In fact, a new episode's coming up here in a few months. I believe their fall season, so make sure you check that out. Myself and Travis will be analyzing 4 videos. Very cool videos, by the way. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. When I went right up to the surface, the southeastern quadrant of the sun, at least from the Earth's perspective, that was about as good as I could get. And you can see there is a clear connection there. Again, how it maintained that connection, basically uninfluenced by anything else, and the sun's very powerful, right? How did that just casually just hang around for 3 days? No way. I think the laws of physics are going to disagree with that. That was something of intelligent origin. There's no way it could have done that. But we're looking at it, right? Okay, here's another pretty good view. It looks like a big vortex coming off the surface of the sun, right? Thin down towards the surface. Actually, that's not necessarily the surface because the sun has many layers of atmosphere, just like the Earth. The Earth has many layers above where we're all at right now, and the Earth has many layers below us where we're at. And we're kind of stuck in the middle, you know, in between the lithosphere and the stratosphere, and the inner core and outer core of the Earth. Here we are. We're stuck in the middle. The sun's the same way. It's got an interior and it's got an exterior. It's got a big canopy. So this was obviously dipping down well below the canopy, the many canopies, the outer layers, the atmospheres of the sun. Me B35. Thank you, me B35. You're welcome. God bless. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, let me stay focused here because I got something I want to share. I don't want to forget my train of thought here. That's why I have my little handy dandy note card right here. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Thank you guys for the super chats. Keep them coming. It's always cool to see the chat lit up. All right. This was about as close as I could get. Obviously, it goes deeper down below the atmosphere's many layers. Now I'm coming out towards the object itself. Look at the perfect curvature. Keep in mind, it's dealing with solar wind up here so strong that it can cause a big chunk of ice that we call comets go sublime, fall apart, create tails millions of miles long, but yet it's just sitting here just as casual as a Sunday morning. How? And maintaining this perfect shape as if it's made of another substance. It's deflecting the solar wind like you would deflect water in your shower or something, you know? How does it do that without being equally as strong, at least in this area, and having some sort of density? I don't know. It was truly an enigma. And again, okay, here's where it starts to, Sir Skelt, thank you for the super chat, Sir Skelt. Here's where it starts to detach. Now, when it starts to detach, let me back up just a minute and I'll get with you, Sir Skelt. Thank you, sir. Okay, notice its connection starts to deteriorate a little bit. Notice how it's not as dark? Because before, the darkness was revealing that it was pulling something off the sun. That's why it was darker, because it was denser. The density created the darkness. Well, now you're starting to see some of that density go away as it's detaching. So what it's doing up here at the top, it's detaching off of the surface, coming up through the many layers of atmosphere of the sun, and there's several, and they're thousands of miles thick. So this thing's coming up through the layers of the atmosphere, and now it's losing, it's not as visible, I guess I should say, because it's not as dense. And then right there, completely detaches as one unit. And if you look real close right there, I know it's hard to see. Okay, it's hard for me to, okay, if you look at the center of the image and then go just up to the left at around the 10 o'clock position. If this were a clock, go up to the 10 o'clock position. See that unique feature there in the background? It only showed up in this particular format, but there's clearly something there that just doesn't look, you know, doesn't look natural. But right here is where it completely detached from the surface of the sun. Sir Skelt, what you got, buddy? Submitted a video of two strange objects at night flying separately low in the sky and disappearing. I'll check them out, Sir Skelt. I probably have. I've been through the... Did you send them in under Sir Skelt? Because I get videos like that every day, but I will double check. But right here is where it completely detached. Now it's starting to lose its density, and then of course the dark color. And there it goes. Now notice it's pulling with it part of the surface of the sun itself. Even corona plasma's coming with it, but it was staying in place. But it stayed in place the entire 3.5 days it was there. But now it's just like pulling it with it, as if it has horsepower too. It had its own strength. Unbelievable. It truly was an unbelievable event that occurred on the southeastern limb of the sun that day, March of 2012. Okay, here I got a little closer, but as you can see, sometimes when you go in too close, it's a give and take situation, you know, and some of the clarity was compromised, but all in all, it really wasn't too bad. But again, it's much deeper inside the atmosphere of the sun. There we go. Notice its density, it's still dark. The color's dark because it's pulling something from the sun. There's energy flowing through there. Where is that energy going? It's going into that, doing something to that thing. Perfectly round. We've seen coronal cavities. You could see one all the time, but pretty much anywhere. Nothing like this with this type of personality. Huh. It's connected to it quite nicely, right in the center, by the way, not on the side, you know, where it's uneven and discombobulated. Very perfectly in the center of your perfect arc right there. That again has no problem handling the mighty solar wind that causes comets to deteriorate millions of miles away easily. This is no problem. It's like a walk, a Sunday afternoon walk in the park. No problem, right? Notice the current carrier is what I call that thing. It's still dark, and look where it's darkest. Right next to the sphere itself. So that tells you right there, there's more energy there where it's meeting the sphere than there is anywhere else. It's starting to detach. And again, that thing is incredibly long. Some people called it an umbilical cord. There was all kinds of wild theories, and they weren't really wild. Nobody had ever seen anything like this. So, you know, everybody's theories deserved some sort of consideration because this was something totally new. And again, to the best of my knowledge, nothing like this has ever been seen since. So where did this thing come from? And here's the big question, guys, the biggest question of all. Watch, watch. There it goes. Where did it go? Where did that go? Did it go to another star? Like the object that we have traveling through the solar system right now? And I've got a breaking story to share with you guys in this afternoon's video about that very object. Oh yeah, very interesting. So you'll definitely not want to miss that one. Hey Graham, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Hang on just a second, Graham. Okay, this one here. Okay, again, I just modified the format. I didn't alter it, you know, with regard to any of its components. Just you got to sometimes you adjust the lighting and color a little bit. Obviously, I have here. I was trying to pull forward, and it did come forward, the connector, current carrier, right there. It's solid right there. So right there, it was getting a good flow from the surface of the sun. But notice down here, that almost doesn't look natural either. Something looks unique about that particular area right there, and it didn't show up in any other format but this one. So we're taking a deep dive into the huge sphere that was seen many years ago. I've never dove this deep into this thing. Yeah, I've always had it on my desktop, not my desktop, but my hard drive. Because honestly, I was the one that found this many, many years ago. It was an interesting day. Could be part of the core of the sun being ejected. Good theory, Graham. Good theory. And you know what? When I first saw this too, I had a theory similar to that, almost as if something was departing the interior of the sun, like a small sphere of energy that maybe a bubble. That's what I called it, a bubble. Maybe this was a bubble that slowly ejected out of the sun and disappeared. From what I understand, the far reaches of the solar system, once this happened, this is when I learned this, the far reaches of the solar system are surrounded by, our solar system is surrounded by bubbles. You can't make this stuff up. And somebody can Google it if you wish. I learned that back in 2012 after I saw this thing, because like Graham, that was one of the theories I had too. Is this some sort of a plasma bubble? And prior to this, I did not know that. So where these bubbles come from that are all around the outer perimeter of the solar system, do they come from the sun? They'd almost have to come from the sun, right? I don't know where else they would come from. I don't think they're coming from the Earth. So here's again, this is the different format. Hold on just a second here, guys. All right, cool. It's revealing a little bit more of the surface of the massive sphere, by the way. Just trying to wrap my mind around the size of this thing. I don't know, 10, 20 Jupiters? At least 10, 20 Jupiters. It dwarfs the Earth. Totally dwarfs the Earth. Okay, now notice it's like it's completed its mission. So the connector is being depleted of the energy off the surface that goes way down below the many layers of atmosphere. It's still thicker here, right in here. It's still thicker. And it's almost as if it takes this invisible connector with it, and it departs again as one complete unit. There it goes. It didn't just fall apart, dematerialize. And then what it didn't want, here's what's interesting. What it didn't want recoiled back to the surface. Why didn't it recoil from day one, even after a couple of hours? That's where I'm at. You can see plasma, a big loop of plasma right there. I'm going to play it again. Watch. See the plasma come around it? How did it do that? It had to be its own energy source. It was getting low on energy. And again, this is just a theory, but it had its own unique polarity to where that big filament that came around it off the surface of the sun, let me play it again, right there. Just very casually, watch, slides right on by, and then it snapped back to the surface of the sun on the other side of this huge sphere. Again, having no problem managing the solar wind that's coming off the sun at incredible speeds and incredible strength. No problem. No problem whatsoever. Easy peasy. A walk in the park on a Sunday afternoon. Man, I'm telling you, comets feel the heat of the sun. Comets feel the pressure of the sun millions of miles away. And they're small, super dense objects. What was this thing? Come on, man. Right there is where it came off. Drug a bunch of plasma with it. You can see a big wave there just came off, and then it recoils right here. But still taking a bunch with it. Where did it go? I'm going to zoom in on its departure here in just a second. What I had to do, okay, here was an interesting format. I'll show you guys the full departure here in just a second. This was a format that I did not use back in 2012, so this is actually my first time seeing it in this format too. I did this morning. This shows the structure right there. There is something there. There's the current carrier, whatever you want to call it, and there's the object right there, plain as day. This particular feature that I use to analyze videos and photos, if there weren't something there, or at least this is sensing that there's something there, there was something there, it wouldn't look like this. It's showing the big long cord that went deep into the atmosphere of the sun. There's your nice round, and you can see it's connected there just perfectly. No problem. Almost as if it's done it before, you know? It's a Sunday afternoon walk in the park. Right there's a good view of it. Oh, that thing's massive. Look at how big that thing is. And it's occupying space that tells you that it has to have, or it had to have had some sort of density. There's your 100,000 mile long current carrier that was maybe recharging this thing. Maybe it was a natural artifact of something that roams around in you know, the vastness of the cosmos that we may or may not know something about, you know. I don't know. I don't think this was taught in college. I don't remember any of this being taught. This was the first time I'd ever seen anything like this, you know. Okay, so this was just a unique format, kind of self-explanatory. You can see that it is showing something there. Right there's where it broke the connection, and you can see the density start to give away. And then there it goes as one complete unit, and then the recoil back. There's the big filament of plasma that just casually went around it. Didn't go through it, it went around it. So that tells us that there was something there. It wasn't just a cavity, a dense cavity. If that were the case, this thing you see right there would have went right through it. Obviously, a cavity is a void, right? Cavity is a void. This isn't behaving like a void. It's behaving like something that's very strong energetically, has a lot of power, because it just deflected that big plasma, plasma filament. There it goes, went right around it, not through it. A cavity it would have went through. Just danced right around it. I mean, how cool is that, man? You can't make this stuff up. Seriously, you couldn't make it up if you tried. Okay, so this is like the original. Oh yeah, okay, right here is what I'm gonna show is this thing dipping off of the sun once it's done doing whatever it's doing, and you're gonna see it pull away even farther. I kind of pulled out a little bit to get a wider field of view. Okay, here we go. Detach, all done. Systems go. And it detached as one collective unit. Didn't just fall apart and break or get pulled back into the surface of the sun like, you know, a lot of filaments do. Some filaments kind of lift off the surface of the sun, then get, you know, pushed back down. Flux ropes, you know, they'll raise up and come back down. This had no problem. No problem at all. Slow motion. There you go. Now there's a cavity right there. When it departed, look at how much it drug with it. Of the plasma of the sun, it just drug, took whatever it wanted. And then once it got far enough away from the sun, here's your recoil right there. It recoiled back. So it had enough influence to pull all of that with it right there. And then it detached. That's where the magnetic connection broke right there. You're looking at it just detach from whatever that thing was, and then that goes back to the sun. It was done doing what it needed to do. It was acting as if it was under intelligent control. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't just some random act of cosmic nature. There, the plasma went back up to the surface, dove back down through the many layers of atmosphere, then to the surface. So here again, there goes that, again, big dancing filament, danced around it, not through it. If it was a cavity, it would have went right through it. There wouldn't have really been anything to see here, you know. This was quite the spectacle for over 3 days. So basically, all I've done here is I darkened it up, obviously, and I was trying to, the very best that I could, but I was trying to pull forward the back half of this thing. It had to have made a complete circle. It was just far enough away to where no matter what type of technique that you used, these instruments wouldn't allow you to brighten anything up that far away. It just wasn't possible. So this was the best we could do, but you can see it was highly visible, well up close to the sun. Undeniable, there was something there. You can almost see at times what I was trying to do also here, and in other segments as well. I tried to pull forward the connector to see if it went maybe through, if it penetrated the nice, perfect, look at how perfectly round that is. I mean, seriously, I was trying to see if it went inside of it or if it just connected to the surface of the curvature there. I can't say one way or another. I'm just being honest with you. It was just too difficult to tell. And in fact, it was impossible to tell. It's too dark. There wasn't much to work with regard to light inside there. It was very dark. There was an absence of light, a clear absence of light inside that sphere. Why was there an absence of light there? That's the other thing. How do you just have an absence of light that close to the sun right there? Unless there's something dense there. So, you know, we've learned a lot since 2012, and reevaluating this thing, it just makes more sense that that was possibly a physical structure there next to the sun doing whatever it does. And this may be something that's quite common with other stars throughout the solar system, the galaxy, not necessarily the solar system, but the galaxy. and beyond. You know, it's I don't know. I just know as a planet hunter many years ago, I learned a lot about stars and various things in the cosmos, and they're still a big mystery. They're still a big mystery. They really are. And I think, honestly, this is one of those mysteries. I really do. I think it was quickly dismissed as a coronal cavity, but I think this was far more relevant than just a void in the corona of the sun. As you can see right there, it pulled a huge chunk of the sun off with it. And I'm talking plasma, and what it didn't want, it just recoiled back up to the surface. So there's the new analysis, guys, of the main event that occurred back in 2012. There's the mysterious object, and that was probably at I don't know, the last 12 hours before it detached right here. But again, that maintained a steady position for over 3 days. There's more to it than that. So that's what I think. So did NASA pull a fast one on us? I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't know what it was either. Maybe they did. But all I know is since then, and observing the sun through many different techniques that you know, show the corona and things like that, you see coronal cavities all the time. Nothing with that much personality. That's all. So my humble opinion, that thing was of intelligent control. Whether it naturally went up there and migrated without any type of means to an end, it's just something that happens and then it disappeared, or was it under some sort of intelligent control that it fueled and went somewhere else and fueled again? I mean, the possibilities, I suppose, are endless, you know, whatever you think. But I think there was more to the story. I really do. And speaking of more to the story, you want to stick around for, not necessarily right now, but I'm going to come back on around 4, maybe just prior to 4 o'clock this afternoon. I have some, and I've been listening to the convo here. Oh, thank you guys for the super chats. I have some interesting information I want to share with you guys this afternoon. Oh, hey guys, I need to take hey, Valerian, what's going on? Michael, Libra, there's the moderator, got the best moderator on YouTube. Thank you, moderator, you do a great job. Everett Watson, thank you for the super chat, Everett. Very, very cool. Who else is over here? Ocam's Razor, nice job. Yes, it was a heart. Oh, that's cool. Everett Watson. It was a heart of gold recharging its improbability drive. You know, I've heard, you know, I've heard so many theories over the years about that thing. It's still making the rounds. Hello from Hungary. Hello, Hungary. What's up, Valerian the Mac? What's going on? Michael the Archangel. What's going on? Knowing is half the battle. You're right, sir. You're right. Libra Dragon, birth of a planet. You know what, Libra Dragon? That was a theory that was going around back in 2012. You're right. Birth of a planet. Birth of maybe a star. But if you Google, you'll see, and I haven't looked it up in years. I just happened to remember as I was doing this live stream. There is a ring around our solar system, a ring of bubbles. So is that one of them? Was that one of them that just kind of detached from the sun, a big plasma bubble, and it drifted to the edge of the solar system where they're all collecting? Yeah, we've got the asteroid belt that's a ring around the solar system, the inner solar system. We have the Oort cloud, which is also a ring around the solar system. We also have the Kuiper belt, which is another ring around the solar system. And then somewhere out in that neck of the woods, so to speak, there's a belt of bubbles. Go figure, man. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah, a belt of bubbles. Dyson sphere. A Dyson sphere, Miss Anonymous, a Dyson sphere is a hypothetical contraption that encapsulates a star. So a Dyson sphere would have had to have been bigger than the sun. and it would capture the vast majority of the sun's energy and use a hypothetical cord or something like that, as you saw in that video, um, to engineer the energy of that star to a desired destination. That is a hypothetical Dyson sphere, and you would have infinite energy, right? We could have infinite energy right here on the Earth because there's enough energy that goes past the Earth every minute of every day to probably satisfy our energy needs for 100 years, if not more, just 1 hour. So yeah, I mean, we got a long ways to go, but yeah, the Dyson sphere is a very cool theory. Absolutely. What day, Andrew? March 11th. Holy cow, the email's working good, guys. March 11th, 2012, buddy. March 11th of 2012. But it was up there March, I want to say 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. It may have been up there 4 days. Unbelievable. UV readings today. Yes, you're right. Sith, Trish, I'm going to go do the UV readings right now, guys. I'm about 20 minutes late, but it's better late than never. As long as you get them in between the 12:30 window, you're good because the sun's still at peak. You want to take your UV readings. If you measure the UV, and my instruments are right over there, I need to go do that real quick because I did promise yesterday that I would take them today, and I'm going to keep that promise. So listen, guys, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for stopping by and spending part of your day with me. Thank you, Graham. Oh, there you go. Telios is a bubble just discovered in our solar system. Oh, Telio. Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of bubbles in our solar system, Graham, and they form a ring around the solar system. Feel free to Google it. I haven't Googled it in many, many years. I'm sure they're still there. Where do they come from? My guess would be the sun. maybe like what we just witnessed right there. I don't know, but it's a real thing. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to go take the UV, and I'll share the UV reading, UVAB and UVC. We don't want to see any UVC, but I'm going to measure for it anyway, and I'll share it in this afternoon's live stream. Thanks for the super chats. Once again, that was super cool. Thank you for all your comments. Once again, everybody, thank you so much. Mr. Razor, thank you. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you this afternoon right around 4 o'clock, okay? And I'll have the UV reading then. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.